Hi, everybody. We're so happy that you could join us today. Barbara and I are so excited that you're here. We're not very excited about the topic, of course. Like we always say, that we're one of the organizations that we're glad that you're here. That nobody really wants to belong to it, but we are glad that you're here. So, Barbara, thank you for being here too. We've just been talking about having this forum to talk to everybody and to help everybody during the holidays, because navigating the holidays when you have a loved one that's incarcerated is really difficult. It can be emotional. There's just so many things. So we're really hoping that this session provides information for you to not only help you get through the holidays, but also to provide good information and hear about how other people are dealing with the holidays. I know for myself, I'm Julia Lazarek, and I'm the founder of Prison: The Hidden Sentence, which is a podcast, and it's also the name of my book we'll be talking about in a minute. And I'm also co founder of Prison Families Alliance, which is a support group, along with Barbara Allen, who is the other co founder of Prison Families Alliance. And we provide support meetings to people across the United States, even internationally, that really don't have anybody to talk to. And we know from our families that the holidays can be especially difficult. And I know for myself, my brother was incarcerated just before Thanksgiving. And that first Thanksgiving was so difficult, sitting there at the table, having that empty seat at the table, and nobody talking about it. And maybe this is happening in your family too. Maybe we just had Thanksgiving and you're all sitting there and your loved one isn't there, but nobody's talking about it because you don't know how, you don't know what to say. And that's why we're doing this. So as we go through the holidays, we can decide how we want to handle the holidays, how we want to talk about it, if we want to talk about it, what we want to say, how we want to involve our loved one. I mean, there's so many decisions and things that we can do. There are ways to create new traditions and ways that we can make it through the holidays and thrive and still find joy in the holidays, because that's what it's all about. No matter where we are in our lives, no matter what's going on, there still is joy, and we can find that joy, and we can thrive and survive and live our lives. Everybody's on their own journey, right? So let's make our journey a good one, because we know the healthier we are, and this is a theme that you'll hear through all of our talks, all of our meetings, the healthier that we are, the better that we can support our loved ones. So let's stay healthy and let's find ways to enjoy the holidays. I I also wanted to talk about another holiday, that it was actually the first time that I got to visit my brother. He was incarcerated in November, and the day that we could go visit him happened to be Valentine's Day in February. And my parents and I went to the prison. We'd never been to a prison before, never been through anything like this. And we thought it had to be a solemn occasion, that we couldn't smile, that we couldn't laugh, that we had to be sad. We were scared. It was just really, really difficult. And we processed in. If you visited a prison, you know that there's a waiting, and you go in and you hear that door slam, and you're sitting there in the visiting area waiting. And other families were there, and they were talking and laughing, and we were like, what's going on here? This is supposed to be sad. And my brother comes out and we hug him, and it was just a nice visit. We got to hang out, and it was nice. And what happened that day was there was a wedding. Could you imagine a wedding in a prison? Well, we were like, what's going on? Why would anybody get married in a prison? Well, I've learned after years of being involved with this, that people are people, right? People fall in love. And people that are incarcerated, people that have loved ones that are incarcerated, do get married. They're married before they're incarcerated. They can get married while they're incarcerated. They get married after. So these are things that we learn because we're involved in this life. as Barbara says, it's like Alice in Wonderland. Nothing is as it seems, right? And we we can survive through this. There's always hope. I mean, Barbara and I have gotten through this. My brother was incarcerated for 15 years, and he passed in prison 11 years ago from hepatitis C. And that's when I realized that I was living a hidden sentence, that the whole time he was incarcerated, that I was grieving, that I was living, not living my life. And that's why it's so important that we come together. It's so important that everybody lives their life, that everybody thrives. And I just want to let you guys know about our books, that Barbara and I have written books. The Prison, the Hidden Sentence book is everything that I wish that I knew when my brother was incarcerated. And Barbara's book, Doing Our Time on the Outside, is her story, which I think a lot of people that know Barbara have heard. We spoke about it in the last broadcast that we did. But these books have great information, and they're helpful, and you can get them on Amazon. So I just wanted to let you know about those books. And we're so happy you're here. And I want to bring Barbara in. And Barbara, it's so good to see you. I love you in blue. I know this is going to be recorded. People will be hearing the audio, so they might not be able to see Barbara and me, but she's beautiful in blue today. And Barbara, if you can share some of the stories and things that you've learned with the thousands of people that you've spoken to over the years, because you pretty much started support groups in the 60s.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you so much. And it's so good to see you. And no, I'm in green. Green is the color of our, well, goes red, well with red hair. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be with you. I sometimes say I can be the historian of the criminal justice system. My husband went away a very long time ago, and 1966. And I had lots of holidays to live through, and we did. Here we are. My husband had psychiatric difficulties. Our problems started even before he went to prison. So nothing happens in a vacuum. When our loved one goes away, and Jean went to prison on December 8th, 1966, right before Christmas, right before the Hanukkah holidays. We celebrated both. And I had two small children. My focus had to be on my children. I had to make sure that they had a holiday, that I was not depriving them of what they deserved. So many ways I had to act as if. That's one thing that has helped me get through not only the holidays, but many parts of my life. I had to act as if things were normal, that I was happy, that my children were going to have as normal a Christmas as they could. And that was kind of my motivation. Over the years, I spoke to many, many families who had that empty chair at the table. And one of the things that I think helped so many of them was that they had to hang on for themselves, their loved ones, and for their children. When Jean went away, I'll tell you this little anecdote. It was my daughter was in preschool, and she made a little a weight, a paperweight. I'm sorry, I sometimes forget words. She made a paperweight that was a rock that she painted, and she wanted to bring that to her father. And of course, you don't bring a rock to a prison. And I think I told that our last week's session. But it's something that stayed with me because it's so indicative of children and their innocence. And we try to keep that innocence for them. Many of the families that I know have been visiting prisons during the holidays and having their Christmas mail through a vending machine and acting as if. making the day as pleasant as they possibly could for the person who they're visiting, for their children, and for themselves. One of the problems that was brought to my attention is that there's a shortage of staff at holiday time. The staff at the institutions want their days off also. Makes it a little bit more difficult. And probably the most difficult part of visiting during any time is when you have to leave your loved one behind. So all your feelings that you're going to feel are normal, they're natural, and you can get through them. I think I'm going to stop talking now and go on to our guests because they're living it day by day. With me, it's something that happened in the past.
You always bring such great information in and sharing, and just, everything that you've heard from other people, everything that you've been through has just been is so helpful, I think, to our families. And we do have a guest, and we will bring her in a second. Her name is Caroline, and she has been gracious enough to join us. She's joining us from New York. And welcome, Caroline. We're so, so happy that you could join us today. And just please feel free to share. We'd love to hear your story and the advice for our families. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Barbara. It's such an honor to have been invited to speak with you today. And, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to read both of your books because it has helped me tremendously. So my name is Caroline Hansen. I live on Long Island with my 2 daughters. My husband, Christian, is currently serving a life without the possibility of parole sentence in an upstate facility here in New York. And the holidays are rough for all of us, for my husband, for my girls, and especially for myself. As Barbara had mentioned, she had to put her daughters first. And I really feel for me, when I first started, I wish somebody would have told me that it's okay to take care of me first, because if I'm not okay, I'm not going to be okay for my daughters, and I'm not going to be okay for my husband. I'm not going to be a good worker. I'm not going to be a good friend. So I really feel a little bit of advice that I could just share is take care of yourself, whether it's getting your nails done, go getting, your hair done, take a walk, take a 5-minute walk on your lunch break, or, take that phone call and go outside for 5 minutes and just get up and stretch, because it's just so important. Self-care is the most important thing. And I really feel that, it's important to know that your loved one's sentence is not your own. Barbara's book, I quote all the time that the families do our time on the outside. And sometimes I feel that I'm in a prison of my own in some kind of way. But, we have to learn to heal and to try to forgive. I know sometimes I get angry, and just the thought of me being here alone and having to pay the bills. And, it's just so important to try to forgive, not only, for what happened, but also to forgive myself for feeling these feelings, and just have to try to feel what I feel and know that it's okay to process your feelings. And for me, for 1 minute, I'll be fine. I'll be talking fine. The next minute, I'm crying. The next minute, I'm mad. The next minute, I'm happy. And it's just so important to feel your feelings and to know that it's okay, because you just have to heal. And I know what really helped me and my daughters is, just to understand that my husband is where he is and he's going to be okay, but that we need to take care of ourselves here. And if we're able to send a package a month, I have a few extra dollars, I'll send him a package. If not, it's more important for me to have food on my table than to be sending him commissary money. And I know I would feel guilty and ashamed not being able to, send him a beautiful package on a holiday. But it's okay to take care of yourself first and make sure that you don't go without. I know it's also very important to have a community around you that supports you. There's so much stigma around incarceration. And when everything first happened, I wouldn't talk about it. I was so afraid that people were going to judge me. And, eventually I had to learn that the more that I spoke out about it, that I gave myself a voice, and that the people that matter are not going to judge you. So whether it's, when I found Prison Families Alliance, it's when I really found myself. And it's so important to be around a community of people that understand what you're going through, that can support you, that can uplift you, that can listen and just sit there in silence and listen to you cry. And for the past 3 years, my daughters and I have been working with the local jails and handing out toys to the children who are leaving the visiting room. And I know my daughters and I have been, on visits with my husband and their father, and have received toys from, the facility. And it helped the girls so much to I think Julia mentioned leaving the visit, or Barbara said the hardest part is leaving a visit. But, just knowing that the little one has a toy to bring home with you, and it reminds them of their loved one that they were visiting that day. So I know for me, volunteering with the girls was absolutely life changing. Just knowing that, you're keeping busy, you're doing something good for somebody else, and maybe your story can help them. And when I was keeping it to myself and not sharing, the more I started speaking out about it, the more I started sharing. Somebody will say, well, hey, I can relate to that because this happened to me. And I think it's just really important that you give yourself a break, and that you really just respect yourself and take the time you need, give back when you can, and pull back when you can't. And I know for my girls, even though, like Barbara had mentioned, that rock, we'll color a piece of, a paper, and we'll make our own holiday cards and we'll send it to him. Or, we'll take pictures of us in our goofy Christmas outfits and send it to him. If we can, we'll go visit. And I really just want everybody to know that you are not alone, and that there's support for every situation there is. And, joining our groups, there's nothing you can't share here. And I just really hope to be able to see you all at the next meeting. And I'm just so grateful to have been here. And thank you for letting me share and speak.
Thank you so much, Caroline. I mean, I could relate to so much of what you were saying, because I experienced a lot of that with my brother. And I think if I can relate, I think a lot of people that are listening could definitely relate. And it's so important, like you said, that we take care of ourselves, and we forget that. And having, a community is so important, especially in the beginning, because there's so many things that we don't know, and information on how to handle the holidays, right? Like volunteering. Some people don't think of that getting outside of yourself is really helpful a lot of times. So I just want to thank you for sharing, for spending time with us. I know Barbara's out there. Maybe you could bring her in, uh, and we just appreciate you so much, and we're so glad you're part of our community. We're sorry you have to be a part of our community, but we're happy that you're here, and appreciate you and all your help and everything that you're doing to make life better for yourself, for your children, and for others.
And thank you for the advocacy work that you do, Caroline. I know that you're involved in so much advocacy, and that comes with strength. So thank you for all of that.
You're making a difference. You're making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
We love you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
Yeah. We're so fortunate to have guests come in today and share their stories, because you and I, we've pretty much told our stories. I don't know, you way more than many times than I have, Barbara, but it's so important.
And sometimes I think, oh my God, did I just say that, or did I say that last week or the week before? But what I was thinking when you were talking about people getting married in prison, I stood up for 2 couples at the county jail at different times who got married. And I would like to say that this was a long time ago, and the people went through their time. Remember, this was county. The men were going upstate. They went through their time. Both couples are home reunited, and their lives are good. So I like to say that just to give people the hope. and to know that there can be really a happy ending to our stories.
Yeah, because if you're not involved, you know, like my family and myself, that first time, we were like, "What's going on?" You know, but I think people that are on the call, people that will be listening after the fact, maybe somebody that hasn't been through this, that just found us or is listening because they're in school or going into public service, that they understand that we're human beings, that we have feelings, and it doesn't matter if you're on the outside, the inside, that we still need to keep the family together, that we're still human beings and we need to humanize everybody.
Mhm.
And we do have another guest that is on the phone, a call in. So I believe we're going to bring in Matt. Matt was previously incarcerated, and we thought it would be nice to bring him in to talk about the other side. What is it like when you're incarcerated and the holidays are here? So looking at it from the other end. Is Matt still there? Or?
Yeah, but we're getting, you hear that?
Yeah, we're getting feedback.
Yeah.
Okay, and Barbara, can you read that? It looks like we have a comment from Vicky.
Oh, I have to get my glasses on
Would you like
and
to
go into,
read it?
I don't,
John's going to read it. Go ahead, John.
thank you, John. I take my
Okay.
glasses.
This is from Vicki Curtis, who said, I would like to start a in-person support group here in Westminster, Maryland. Could someone please help her in getting this started in 2024? I already have a place to meet, but just need the info on how to start the group.
That's wonderful, Vicky. If you can email connect@prisonfamiliesalliance.org, and it will be streaming across. So again, that's connect@prisonfamiliesalliance.org, and we would be more than happy to work with you on that. We do have meetings where people have met in person because they live in the same areas. Some people that don't have people in the same area call in. Well, you know, we still provide the support. So yes, Vicki, that would be wonderful. And then
Okay, never mind then. Well.
and then Owen says, I think someone. I can't read it. Oh, needs to mute. Okay, thank you, Owen. Okay, well, while we're working on seeing if we can bring Matt in, Barbara, let's go ahead and continue, because John is over there trying to see what we can do with Matt, because I just thought it was really important to do that. What I do have is some other suggestions that people have made. That I've spoken to in some of the meetings. And something that somebody suggested that I thought was really cool was to create a scrapbook. Their loved one was incarcerated for 12 years and had 6 more years. But during the 12 years, what she did was every year she would make a scrapbook of what was happening that year. What were the kids doing? What was popular movies, popular songs, and just different things that people that's incarcerated might not be aware of. So I thought that was very good. So anyway, I just thought a scrapbook, and then the reason she said she started it for 12 years, and now he just had 6 years left, but it was something for them to look forward to, so that when he's released, she would give him this book and he could revisit everything that happened and kind of be brought up to date, not only what was happening with the family, but also what was happening in the world. What do you think of that?
I think that's such a great idea. I wish I had thought of it.
Well,
So-
that's why we're doing this, right? Because
That's
there
right.
things that we didn't know that people are giving us suggestions, and I thought that was one. And I think we're ready to bring Matt on.
I hope.
And Matt, thank you for joining us. We are so happy that you're here and taking the time to be with us and looking at it from somebody that's been incarcerated. What were the holidays like, and what are some suggestions that you can make to the families that are listening on how they can survive and thrive and also support their loved one? So we'll just go to Matt.
Yeah, Julia. Hi. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm getting a kind of an echo, so I'll do the best I can when I'm responding. But I believe you said, what was it like to be incarcerated during the holidays, and how did I get through that? It was, I was thinking about this before hopping on, and of course, it was very difficult and very lonely. You were surrounded by hundreds of people, but it was a lonely feeling, which is strange. Um, but it's strange because before I was arrested and incarcerated, I lived in a different state away from my family, and so in a weird way, I was used to not being with a lot of family during the holidays, or a lot of groups, friends and family. So in a weird way, it almost was like almost prepared me. Um, but I when I was incarcerated, I really had to think about just making it a normal day. I know that's kind of sad, but just like any other day. And I felt myself wanting to rush through it, just like get through it. I just want, Thanksgiving to get over with. I want Christmas over with. I want New Year's over with. And then once January came around, it just felt like more normal again. Um, but yeah, it was very helpful though. I know people listening have loved ones incarcerated. I was lucky, very lucky to have supportive family, and they communicated with me a lot. They mailed me things. This was back in between late 2007, early 2012. A lot of things have changed since then. There's a lot more communication. There's video calls and stuff, and maybe even some people have iPads nowadays. I don't know. It's crazy. But I got mail from my family, which is definitely helpful. It doesn't have to be anything special. Magazines, a quick letter, anything like that. A picture or two. Phone calls, of course, are helpful. It's phone calls are hard though. They are very helpful and to beat that loneliness, but at the same time, you hear people on the phone, your loved one doing things, you hear background noise, and it's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I want to be there. I'm stuck in prison. I want to be where you're at. So, but yeah, that's kind of
So Matt,
some
what
of
are
the
some
things
things
that.
that might have made it better for you, that you could share with the families? You saying that even though there was a lot of people, right, incarcerated with you, you felt alone. Is there anything that you think that your family could have done, or maybe a general suggestion
Mhm.
to our listeners as to things that might have made it better for you or for their loved ones?
Well, not, with my family, my personal experience, I don't think they could have done anything better. I really don't. Now, some advice, I didn't mention visiting. I know that's not possible for everybody. You could be 5 states away from your loved one. I know that's tough. But
Yeah.
anything that my family could have done, I really can't think of anything. They were just extremely helpful and would send me lots of mail, and I loved it, getting that mail. And I felt, it helped me stay connected in some sort of way. Any advice for other people listening, families? I just say keep it simple. Any type of communication is helpful. It doesn't have to be anything huge. A quick email. If you can visit, that's always helpful, to someone incarcerated. Of course it is. I mean, who doesn't want to see their loved one? Well, some people don't, that's tough because it's too hard on them. I understand that, but mail too is always nice. Um, you know, uh, those are the things that help me, and I think that's the best advice I can give. Nothing specific, but just trying to stay in contact. It's tough when it's very long term, but maybe create a routine of some kind, send out a letter or something every month or every couple of months. Make a phone, have them call in, schedule a time, something like that. Those are some
No,
of the
that
other.
sounds wonderful, Matt. You brought up communication, and that's so important, and especially during the holidays. And there's some people that write every day, some people that write every week,
Mhm.
and maybe a special letter or card during the holidays is helpful. But I really appreciate you sharing and bringing out how important communication is, how important the phone calls are. And I'm glad that that helped you, and I'm glad that you made it through the holidays. As we say, there's always hope, and you've made it through, and you're thriving, and have been out for a while. So I just appreciate you taking the time and sharing. Thank you
Oh,
so
you're
much.
welcome, Julia. Thank you for having me. Sorry, I didn't want to go on camera. I wasn't looking so good today.
No, that's okay. We're just glad that you joined and took some time, because not everybody that's incarcerated needs a lot or wants a lot. So I think Matt is a good example of that. He did his time. He got received communication, email, well, not emails then, but letters, as well as phone calls, and that's really what he needed. So again, thank you for sharing. Everybody's a little different, and we have another guest that we're going to bring in. So thank you so much. We'd like to bring in Jasmine, and Jasmine is another family member, and I'm just so glad you could join us, Jasmine, and I'm excited, to hear your story and for you to share some of the traditions that you guys have started in your family. So thanks for joining.
Hi, Julia. Thanks for having me. Yeah. So I can give a little background on our story, and then kind of go into our traditions. So my husband, we're in Colorado. We're high school sweethearts, so we're just shy of 13 years together. So it's been a long time together, it feels. But he was incarcerated at the end of October 2021. And so, right before the holiday season, and definitely the first holiday season was the hardest, especially it's that transition period. We didn't know where he was going to be moved. We couldn't visit yet or even really talk to him on the phone very much. But we did learn, eventually to create like these new traditions that we have and also change our mindset eventually. Obviously, not the first year, but this will be our third holiday season where he's incarcerated. But we have learned to change our mindset instead of focusing on how we're not physically together every day, and instead that this is an opportunity for us to grow and strengthen our relationship in like other ways that we otherwise probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to have. And so some of the things we like to do, we'll write letters to each other. Even though we talk on the phone almost every day, we still write letters to each other. And, it's a little more kind of an intimate setting, I guess is one way to say, since we're always, someone's always watching what we say. So it's nice to have our letters, and we can go a little bit more in depth, because sometimes a 20-minute call every day is, how can we really talk about our whole week in 20 minutes? But when we would do video visits, I would show him the house because I do home upgrades, or during the holidays specifically. We every year we would do a video visit. And so I would put up the Christmas tree and put the ornaments, but we had special ornaments, like just him and I, for our engagement and for our dog, and like other just really special ornaments that we like to put on the tree together. And so with our video visit, I would have the video propped up so he could see the tree, and I'd pick up an ornament and just ask him, okay, where do you want me to put this one? So he got to be involved in decorating the Christmas tree. We were able to do that last year because the first year we didn't have video visits yet. But last year we were able to do that. This year we don't have video visits just because of the system, but we still did it. Actually, the other day I had him just on the phone, and I was telling him, picture the tree, you know, the tree's 7 foot tall. Where do you want, at what distance do you want this ornament at? So he was still involved in decorating the tree. And then I just take a really nice picture of the tree, and sometimes I'll put our dog next to the tree, and he'll get that picture, so he gets to see the Christmas tree every year. And I still hang his stocking every year as well. So I have our stockings up. Where we just kind of try to treat it like he's always here, because he is still here with us. He's just not physically in the house right now. Some of the other things we've done. So we realized there's like certain desserts that he likes, or I guess tolerates the most from his facility. And one of them is apple crisp. And so I learned how to make it. So when family was over for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, we'd plan a time for him to call us. He would let us know what time, and we'd have the apple crisp ready, and he would have his apple crisp, and we would eat it together. So it's like we're all having this like wonderful holiday dessert together, even though we're doing it over the phone or over the video call. So that one's really special as well. And now we just have that little treat. Every time we eat that treat, we think of it. What else? Oh, we also, as a family, just in general, which this is a surprise to him, he doesn't know about, we have a big box that we've dedicated. And anytime we've gone on vacation, or if we're just kind of at the store and we see something, we get something for him. And we have this box, and I have everything in there we've collected over the last couple years that he's been in there. And I have a notebook. So each thing is an explanation of like where we got it, who got it, what was it for, what's the meaning behind it. And we were wrapping every single thing. So when he gets home, we're going to present him with this box, and he gets to open each individual thing and we'll kind of read about what it's about. And then we can have these discussions of like, oh yeah, we went to visit this and we got you this sort of thing, or these socks, or something kind of silly like that. So that'll be a nice surprise that we're looking forward for him. He has no idea we're doing that. So that's something really special that we get to do as a support system together for him. And then I think one of our last things, we definitely go and visit in person as much as we can. We're very grateful he's not too far away, and we're able to visit pretty frequently, about every few weeks, maybe once a month if we can, a little more than that. But the last 2 years, we've been able to visit him on New Year's Day. So our first visit with him ever since he was in there was on New Year's Day. And then last year we were able to go, and this year we're also planning. So we get to ring in the new year with him, even though it's not with champagne and at midnight, but we still get to go and see him. So those are a lot of our little traditions that we've come up with over the last couple of years.
Oh, Jasmine, I love the traditions that you guys have started. And most importantly, I'm so glad you came in, because when I heard the apple crisp story a while ago, I was like, everybody needs to hear that, because there's things that you can do, traditions you can create, and joy that you could bring in together, even though it's really difficult. I love what you said about the decorations. So even though your loved one is not with you, they can be involved in the decorations in your house and what you're doing. And what we spoke about last week, which I also wanted to bring in, is that if you have children or family members that you're purchasing gifts for, that you're giving gifts during the holidays, that it's also from your loved one, that they're involved in those decisions. And I know for you and your family that your husband is involved in a lot of the decisions, that you still, even though he's not there physically, that you include him in everything. And I just think that's beautiful. And I can't wait to meet him. I've met you in person, and I can't wait to meet him. That's coming up. And also the box we spoke about a little earlier, about somebody suggested a scrapbook. So this is kind of similar. And having that box, I know that everywhere you go, when you guys travel, you'll buy something for him, or something that reminds you of him, or that that he'll like. I mean, these are such great things and great traditions that people can do. So if you have a loved one that's incarcerated, you can create your own traditions. Look at what Jasmine has done. Jasmine, thank you so much for joining us. I so appreciate you coming on and sharing with us.
Yes, of course. Thanks so much for having me. Hope everyone has a happy holidays, as happy as we can make them.
Yeah, and this is going to go on. This is it's live right now, but we're recording it, so people will be able to listen to this and know what to do for all holidays that are coming up. Everyone's different, and you might want to have a box of for holidays, right? Have different things or decorations. And I love that he's going to open this up when he comes home. Like he's going to get this box and have things to open up. What a great idea. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll bring Barbara back. And I just so appreciate all of the guests that have been here. Barbara, didn't they share wonderful information?
They certainly did. I wish I knew about all this when Jean was away. It certainly would have helped us get through the holidays and the life. You know, I thought of one other thing that while people were speaking, a suggestion that other families have shared with me to both you and your loved one be reading a book together. And then when you visit or when you have a phone call, you can talk about your feelings about the book and share. It's just one more thing that can bring you a little bit closer.
No, that's a great suggestion. And that reminds me of one of our families also spoke about TV shows that they would watch and then talk about that. Or one person said that they would mail the transcript of a movie to their loved one, and then they would watch it. Their loved one would have the transcript, and then they would talk about the movie. And it was just really interesting if you didn't see it but only read it, like what you envisioned. So it would always give them things to talk about, and just great things that you can do to keep, like Matt said, the communication is really important,
Yes.
especially when you're on the inside.
Yep.
So
Well, I want to thank everyone for their wonderful contributions. And, you know, we couldn't do it without you folks. It's you're so important to us and to our community.
Well, yeah, it's like we spoke about last time. There's so many people that are incarcerated. I'm not going to go through the numbers again. You'll have to listen to the last episode. But there's millions of people out there that are affected, and we can support each other. Nobody has to go through this alone. Nobody has to go through the holidays alone. You can make your decisions on what works for you, what works for your family, and also how you want to keep that communication going. You know, so I found my candy cane, but it broke. And I was thinking about how last week when I was having my candy cane and it brought me joy, and we were talking about how things out there, you know, find things that bring you joy. And when I pulled out my candy cane and it was broken, I I thought, well, should I throw it away? And I was like, no, it's still good. I'm still enjoying it, right? So it's just like your heart, right? Your heart breaks when your loved one isn't there, but you can still have joy. You can still enjoy the holidays. You can enjoy your candy cane, even if it's broken, right? So we just wish everybody a really good holiday. Barbara, what are you going to do for the holidays?
I'm going to be with my family. We do celebrate Hanukkah, and we do share and have our little chocolate Hanukkah gelt, and we do enjoy one another. My daughter will be up from Florida for part of the holiday, and we're together. So, and then I'm very grateful for all of you.
Yeah, I agree. For us, we're going to be with friends. We don't have a lot of family left, but we will be with our friends. We're going to some parties. We're going to dress up for one, and just you know, be with our PFA family. Where we still have our meetings this month, so people can come to the meetings and we'll share. So, is there any other notes out
Yes.
there?
Well, I'd like to say too, for part of the holiday season, we go into the jails and our local jails, and we give out toys to the children who are visiting their loved ones. And that is always one of the most joyous things I've done over the holidays. We've been doing it for a long time, and we continue to do it.
I think that's really important.
One of the comments that we got in the chat room was from Vicky Curtis, who said, "Your candy cane reminds me of the saying that broken crayons still color."
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, Vicky. Yeah, there's so many sayings out there. I did have another one that somebody said in our meeting the other day, and I wrote it down. And it says, "We can't control the waves, but we can learn to surf them." And I just love that saying. Crayons, broken candy canes, right? You could still move forward. Broken heart, you could still move forward. Broken hearts mend. Everything does get better. And I guess what I always say, one of my sayings is that, it does get easier. It's never easy, but it does get easier. So I think by talking about it, by sharing, by hearing what other people are doing, by creating new traditions, that we will get through this together. So I just want to thank everybody. Thank you, Barbara. And we'll do this again next week, and we'll put this out there so people can listen to it and learn from it and have a good holiday and find joy. That's my saying for today. We're going to find the joy. We're going to get the joy back. Thank you.
Bye.